Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome to a new video with Mr. Wael Abdurrahman. And before we start, kindly like, subscribe, leave a comment, and turn on notification. Now let's begin. Okay, so today's plan. Today we have EST Literacy 1 section. It will go like that. For each question, please pause the video, try to answer the question, and please come back for explanation. Thank you. Let's start. Okay, first, I prepared this passage. It is not from a real test. Question 1. The author is considering removing the underlined sentence. Should the sentence be kept or deleted? So this keep, delete question. So let's read. As Curtis, approached his late 60s, already having achieved so much, that's a non-essential, he had one more rung to climb on the political ladder. So it's all someone named Curtis. In 1927, when Republican President Calvin Coolidge, the 30th President of the United States from 1923 to 1929, a Republican lawyer from New England, born in Vermont, eventually becoming governor of Massachusetts, announced that he, not running for another term. Curtis saw his chance to run for president the following year. So, what did we notice about that? That this part is a non-essential, starting from 60s, starting from the 30th president till Massachusetts. So that part is additional information about Calvin Coolidge, the president. Do we need that part? This extra information about Calvin Coolidge, that he's the 30th president, born in blah, 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 governor of blah, blah, blah. Do we need that part? Is this paragraph about this person? I think the following sentence or the same sentence, just delete that part, and read the sentence. So when President Calvin Coolidge announced, so this is the verb for Calvin Coolidge, announced that he is not running for another term. Curtis, it's all about Curtis, saw his chance to run for president the following year. So I think that part is, or this non-essential is not that important. Let's read the choices. A, keep it. It serves as an introduction to the next sentence. Let's read the next sentence. His plan, so that's Curtis' plan, was to run behind the scenes campaign. So, wise يبقى president. So it's not about Coolidge. So let's delete this one. Keep it. It provides the information for necessary information in the text. I think that part again is not important. So it's delete. Delete, it disrupts the progression of ideas, or delete, it contradicts the sentence before. So did it contradict the sentence before? طبعا definitely. On a contradiction يعني قالت opposite, just the opposite of what was mentioned. No, definitely it's not D. So it's definitely A. C, sorry. Okay, for question number 2. Let's continue reading. So let's delete that part. Okay, let's do this old thing and let's delete that part. Okay, so let's delete that non-essential and read it without the non-essential. So when Republican President Calvin Coolidge announced that as he is not running for another term, notice here, and أنا قلت لك دايما look vertically. Look to the questions vertically. Like definitely this is tense. واضح بيسأل على tense. So is not running, would not run, did not run, does not run. So doesn't, this is present. Didn't, so this is present. Didn't, this is past. Wouldn't, this is past. And is, this is present. Is it present or past? Have a look around. This is 1927, so definitely this is past. Announced, this is past. So it is not. Let's eliminate D and A. So would not and did not. What's the difference? How to use would. تعال نعلمك تستخدم would. Okay? بص كده على would. Number 1. Would is the past of will. Sorry. It has many uses. I'm going to explain only one use. One of its uses. بقول إيه? To talk about the future in the past. ركز معايا. Again. To talk about the future in the past. يعني إيه؟ يعني أنت في الباست. But in the past أنت عايز تتكلم على الفيوتشر بتاعك في الباست. في الفيوتشر. وأنت في الباست. ركز معايا. طب يعني ايه؟ بص الاكزامبل ده. In London, she met the man that she would one day marry. So met, this is past. هي قابلت الراجل. طب هي جوزته في ساعتها؟ No. Did she immediately marry that man? No. So that will be the future in the past. One day. So أنا قلت هنا that she would one day marry. Okay. So يبقى قلنا future from the perspective of the past. Okay. Do you understand؟ إن شاء الله تكونوا فهمتوها. طيب نرجع هنا بقى. Let's go back to this part. هو بيقول هنا إيه؟ بيقول إن President Coolidge announced that as he didn't run ولا wouldn't run. هو في الباست هو قرر إن في الفيوتشر he decided that in the future he wouldn't run. مش he wouldn't be the president. مش يدخل يبقى president for another term. So this is إيه؟ This is أنت في الباست وقرر في الباست إنه في الفيوتشر he wouldn't run. So wouldn't run. Remember how to use would. Okay? It's somehow tricky, but it's not that difficult. طيب تعالى نكمل. Let's continue. Okay, the next one. Number 3. Okay. So announced that so Coolidge, President Calvin Coolidge announced that he wouldn't run for another term. Curtis saw his chance to run for president the following year. Okay. His plan was to run behind the scenes campaign, seeking support for delegates whom he hoped would see him as a deal candidate. That's vocabulary. If they couldn't come together behind one of the fourth runners. هو عايز يشوف ايه يعني ايه deal. What's the meaning of deal? What's a deal? It's a bargain. A deal is a bargain. Okay, like صفقة. Okay, a pact, an agreement. Okay, طيب compromise بقول a middle way. Okay, a middle way between two extremes. يعني ايه between two extremes؟ يعني مثلا you would like to leave the house and go to a party. Your father said no. You wouldn't leave. So we have two extremes. Yes, I want to leave. No, I wouldn't leave. طب compromise, a middle solution. حل وسط في النص. So okay, you can leave but come early. Okay, this is a compromise. طيب. And next, it's in D. We have the word accord. Again, which means agreement. So let's go back. So his plan was to run behind the scene campaign, seeking support for delegates whom he hoped would see him as a deal candidate, pact candidate, or compromise candidate. If they couldn't come behind one of the front runners, there are more than one candidate, and he wanted them to see as a middle solution, a middle way. I wouldn't choose A, I wouldn't choose A candidate, I wouldn't choose B candidate. Okay, I'll choose Curtis. So he is a compromise. That's a compromise candidate. Okay, thank you. Okay, for number 4, vertically we have them, it, us, and him. So definitely this is pronoun, noun agreement. So unfortunately for them, or for it, for us, for him, that scenario didn't plan out. So it didn't plan out. طيب, we are talking about Curtis. So them, that's plural, it, that's singular, non-living, us, this is us. Okay, and him for a male. So Curtis is a male, so definitely that's so easy, it's D. Okay, for number 5. So this is a sentence placement question, asking where should the author place the underlined sentence for coherency. So how to tackle this question? Very easy. Okay, first read the sentence in question. Read the sentence in question. Okay, next, just try to find a clue in the sentence, a word that refers to someone, something before or after. Number 2. Okay, is that sentence general? So we can put it at the beginning of the paragraph, or is it specific? Okay, number 3. Look for chronological order. Okay, chronological order, which means the order of the sentence. Time, so we just order it, what happened first, and then next, what happened? We have a problem, and then we have a solution. Think like that. So let's read the sentence. By this time, there was already blood, so look here. There was blood between Curtis and Hoover. So actually we have a clue. By this time, so he must have mentioned a time before. And Curtis and Hoover. So he wanted to put it where it is now, before sentence 1, before sentence 3, before sentence 4. I recommend to start with before sentence 1. And how do you do it? Just read the last sentence of the previous sentence. اقرا السنتنس الأخيرة من الباراجراف اللي قبله. شوف هو is it related? The last sentence in the previous paragraph can be with A. Unfortunately, for him, that scenario didn't work out. Secretary of Commerce Herbert Hoover won the first ballot. So Hoover was mentioned here. طيب نجرب نحطها. By this time, Curtis, just نحطها هنا كده. By this time, okay, there was already bad blood problem between Curtis and Hoover. طيب نكمل. Curtis had opposed Hoover's choice in 1918 to campaign for Democratic candidates and tried to stop then President Warren G. Harding from appointing him to his cabinet, which he did anyway in 1921. I think it should be related here. Why? First, it is related to the sentence before. Next, we have a problem. It introduces the problem. What is the problem? في مشاكل بينهم, في trouble بينهم. طيب, with sentence 1, explanation. ايه سبب المشكلة؟ ان Curtis opposed Hoover's choice. فبالتالي Hoover كان متضايق منه. That's it. So I think we can answer it quickly and choose 5B. Okay, number 6. طيب, 7 years later, okay, the Republican Party saw putting the two together on their ticket as the solution to a serious problem, comma, Hoover was tremendously unpopular with farmers. طبعا. Vertically كده زي ما علمتكم, comma, colon, nothing. So this is punctuation. Punctuation. So in a punctuation, pay attention to run-on sentence. Don't put two complete ideas together. Okay, with no semicolon, comma, fanboys, full stop. That's a run-on. طيب. نشوف كده بيقول ايه. طيب. Are these two complete ideas? Think. Are these two complete ideas? Yes or no? I think these are two complete ideas. ازاي الكلام ده؟ طيب. 7 years later, the Republican Party saw putting the two together on one ticket as a solution to a series. That's a complete idea. Where is the subject? The Republican Party. Where is the verb so? The next sentence. Hoover was tremendously. So Hoover is the subject. Was is the verb. Two complete ideas. So we can't put a comma here. So A is a run-on sentence. A is a run-on sentence. Run-on. B, no commas. Run-on sentence. D, the same run-on sentence. Okay, actually, B, C, they are the same. Okay, I'm sorry. Oh, okay. In C, we have a colon. تعال أفكركم كده. What does a colon do? Okay, 1. Remember, before the colon, we must have a complete ID. Complete sentence. يعني complete sentence يعني can put a full stop. يعني لو حطينا full stop, it's a meaningful sentence. لازم كده. طب أنا حطيت colon ليه? Why do you put a colon? لأن أنت elaborate. You elaborate. يعني elaborate يعني you are explaining or you are listing. So it's explaining, you are explaining something or you are listing something. Elaboration. So list or explain. That's it. Okay? Right. So definitely, it's not A, run-on, it's not B, run-on, it's not D, so it's C, it's a colon. Okay, he is elaborating. هو بيقول ايه المشكلة? What is the problem? Hoover was tremendously unpopular with farmers. So this is the problem. Okay? In number 7. Okay, so they recognized that he was 1/8 Indian. Okay. Therefore, he had served the interest of white people for a long time. Green says. So again, what do you notice here? Again, we have two complete ideas. They recognize, they the subject, recognize the verb, and then we have a comma. He had served. He is the subject, had the helping verb, served is the main verb. So two complete ideas. So A is a run-on. With therefore is a transitional words. So how do you use transitional words? So طبعا الpunctuation بتاعهم 3 ways to punctuate the transitional words, but the most common, we can have a semicolon, we can have a full stop, and then we can have the transitional words, like for example we have here therefore, so therefore, or however. We have here in D, we have however, so however, and then we put a comma. So it's a semicolon before it, a full stop. Definitely there are 2 other ways, but maybe in another class we can explain that. And before the transitional word, we should have a complete sentence. Okay, we can نشرح ده إن شاء الله في another lesson. So this is a run-on sentence, A, and again it's D. So it's but and for. So for equal because. It's a fanboy and but. So now it's a transition. Read the 2 sentences, understand them. شوف what is the relation. Is that a contrast? So we put but, or we need for. It's a cause and effect. They recognize that he was 1/8 Indian. He was Indian. He had served the interests of white people. That's a contrast. So he was Indian, but he served the white people. So that's not a cause and effect. That's a contrast. So it's definitely B. Okay. 8. Okay. He also notes that the relationship of white Americans of the time with Native Americans was complicated. Okay, we shouldn't read that part. Okay, I'm sorry. So, for some white people with no cultural links to native nations, semicolon, or colon, sorry, it might be a point of pride to claim that their high cheekbones marked them as descendants of an American Indian princess. So we have here a colon. So remember the colon? Before the colon we have a complete idea. Is that a complete idea? When I say for some white people with no cultural links to native nations, is that a complete idea? It's a phrase. يعني ايه phrase? يعني you have no subject, you have no verb. So it's a fragment. So we can put a colon here. طب ايه تاني؟ السيميكولون. تعال نفتكر السيميكولون. 2 complete ideas. So definitely it's not B. Well, full stop. Well, actually semicolon equal full stop. So it should be deleted together. So it's the prepositional phrase. We end the prepositional phrase or any introductory phrase. We introduce your sentence. Like when you say 1990, comma, for some white people with no cultural links to native nation, comma, and then والفكرة بتاعتك. It might be blah 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 blah. So you need that comma. Okay? 9. Okay. Although his assimilationist politics throughout his career, Curtis honored his co-heritage. What do we have here? Although, okay, however, moreover, despite. So, فاكرين however, transitional word, we should have a comma before it. Just skip it. So it's never B, it's never C. We need a comma, okay? And also, we need a sentence after them. Okay, that's not a sentence. So number 2, although and despite. What is the difference between although and despite? Okay, so شديد كده. Okay, let's take it here. So although. So after although, we need a subject and a verb. Like when you say although I was sick. So although he was tired. Although subject and verb. Despite. The same meaning, by the way. So, despite, you must have, okay, a noun before it. Verb plus ing form, like despite the heat, despite being happy, or despite the fact that, plus subject, plus verb. So, what do we have here? I think he said here, although, or his dissimulationist politics. Politics is a noun. So I can't use, we don't have a subject and a verb. So definitely it's despite. Okay? For number 10, okay. Okay, and even if many Native Americans people were unhappy with the land allotment plans he had championed, many co were proud of him. So this is again punctuation. طب هو he started the sentence with if. Do you remember the subordinating conjunction? If, although, though, since, unless. بيعملوا ايه؟ بيعملوا ايه؟ dependent clause, inferior sentence, fragment sentence ملهاش معنى لوحدها. It needs another sentence. So we should end this with a semicolon. Is that a complete idea? No, it's not a complete idea. So can we just put a colon? A colon, we must have a complete idea. It's not B. So we have a comma here and we have a comma here. So it's C or D. The only difference is that we have a comma after many. So if many Native American people were unhappy with the land allotment plans, he had champions, comma, many it's a tribe. Many were. So the subject here is and the verb is were. So can we put a comma between the subject and the verb? No. So it is not C. Just remember that. So definitely it's D. Okay, number 11, the last one. Okay, Hoover remained suspicious of his former, comma, rival, and comma. طب notice هنا, this is punctuation. It's all about punctuation. طب بيقول ايه? Don't read, just think. Hoover remained suspicious of his former, comma, rival. So, do you remember the rule? No comma between the subject, between the adjective and the noun. So, rival is a noun and former is an adjective. So, no comma before the adjective and the noun. So, A is incorrect. And I'm sorry, the question here, بيقول ايه? Which of the following provide the best sentence structure needed to support the author's main idea? بالك في ال EST بيعمل التريك دي. يعني بيجيب the same sentences بيقول لك المين idea. It's not about the main idea. It's all about sentence structure. بنقول نفس الكلام. So don't read the passage. Just look for the grammatical mistake. طيب B بيقول هنا ايه? Hoover remained suspicious of his former rival and despite Curtis' enormous expertise in the working of the Congress, semicolon. طب is that a complete sentence? وبعدين ايه? Kept him away from policy. Is that a complete idea? Hoover remained suspicious of his former rival and despite Curtis' enormous expertise in the working of Congress, semicolon. And then you start another sentence. Kept him away from policy. Is that a complete idea? Kept him. Is that a sentence? Is that a complete idea? I think it's not a complete idea. So it's not B. C. Hoover remained suspicious of his former rival and type. لو في comma after and, notice this trick. If you have a comma before and, yes, you can have a comma before and. But it will be a non-essential. There should be another comma. There should be another comma. تاني, if you find a comma after and, look for the other comma. في another comma? Yes. طب delete it. Just delete that part and read it. جرب كده. Hoover remained suspicious of his former rival and kept him away. So, yes, he kept him from policy. That is the sentence. So it's C. Okay? Thank you so much. I hope you find this video beneficial. For any questions, please leave a comment. And مش عايز أفكركم, please like, subscribe, share, leave a comment and turn on notification. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.